Hi, I'm Christophe from retainwithemails.com, and if you're here watching this video, you know the importance of email marketing. Today, we're gonna go over everything you need to know about Klaviyo and how to grow the revenue of your e-commerce brand with it. We're gonna go over how to set up your email list, how to grow it, and how to send branded email automations to them, as well as email campaigns. This is gonna be a very long video, so I'm gonna add chapters and you can either skip to whichever step is gonna be the most relevant to you or watch all of it and get a comprehensive understanding of how the whole system works. Let's get into it. So we're inside of Klaviyo now, and this is the home tab. As you can see, this is where you're gonna be able to overview everything, your business performance, your top flows, and your most recent campaigns too. So here you're gonna have your conversion metrics, and everything that's gonna be below it is going to depend on the metric that you select right here. So oftentimes you're going to have placed order, so the revenue that you generated in between the time period that you selected right here. So if I select between June 1st and June 13th, you're going to have your total conversions, which is going to be your total brand's revenue, and right next to it you're going to have your revenue attributed this time to Klaviyo. So this is going to be your revenue from campaigns. This is going to be your revenue generated by automation, sequence, or flows, whatever you want to call it. And this is the total revenue of these two combined. And here you'll have your SMS revenue. All of it combined is going to be your attributed conversions to Klaviyo. And then below, you're going to have your top performing flows. So here, your conversion metric is placed order. So you top performing flows are going to be the one that make you the most revenue. And for the campaign, these are the most recent one. Again, this is in between the date that you selected in here in the time period section. So if you selected between June 1st and June 30th, your top performing flows are going to be the one between those two dates. And same thing for the campaign. They're going to be the most recent one based on the date that you selected right here. And now, because this account is empty, it is time that we prepare some lists so that we can send targeted emails to them. So let's do that right now. I'm going to move my head so you can see, and then we're going to go to this audience tab. You are going to click here and then to lists and segments. So we're in the lists and segments panel right here, and this is the default way Klaviyo organizes both your lists and segments. So newsletter by default is your email list, and SMS subscribers is your SMS list. And I think it's useful to explain to you the difference now between lists and segments. Lists are static and segments are dynamic, in the sense that you can add people to your list, and the only way they get taken out of that list is if you manually take them out. And a segment, people get in the segment and out of the segment based on the rules of your segments. So this process of them getting in and getting out is done automatically based on those rules. The simple way I can explain it to you is by an example. So let's do one right now. I'm going to click on lists and segments to create one. And here you would create a list, but we're going to click here to create a segment, and we're going to call it just test so we can set up an example. There's many ways to configure your segments, but right now we're going to do one that's very simple. So what someone has done, we're going to do it such that every person that clicked an email in the last 30 days in our main list, which is the newsletter list, are going to be in that segment. So we're gonna clicked email. If someone has clicked an email at least once in the last 30 days and also is in our main list. So if someone is in the newsletter list, every person that satisfies these two conditions are gonna be in that segment. So if you wanna send an email and you wanna gift people that are interacting with your emails, that have been interacting with your emails in the last 30 days and are in the newsletter list, then you would send an email to this particular segment, as opposed to a list where people would not necessarily satisfy these conditions. So segments are a way to send targeted emails, while lists are just a way to gather people or to collect all of their information in one place. So we're going to end creating the segments by clicking create segment. And generally it's going to load a long time. Well, long is relative, but it's going to take a minute or two to gather everyone, especially if you have a lot of profiles on your list or you have a lot of data to sort through. This process might take a long time, but you don't necessarily have to wait and look at the process unfold. You can just go to another tab and it's going to do that process automatically in the back end. So this is how you create a segment. There are some that are already created. Let's look at some definitions. So engaged 90 days, you have to be in the main newsletter list, and you also have to have opened an email in the last 90 days or clicked one in the last 90 days or be in the newsletter for less than 45 days. So if you satisfy those conditions, you would be in the segment. You can also edit the definitions and name of every segment that you have currently. So you would go about it like this. You click the three dots and you click update definition. And then you're going to be prompted to the full definition. You have and condition and or conditions. And basically this is mathematical logic. So you have to be in that segment, you have to satisfy this and this at the same time. While the or condition, you might satisfy this. So open email at least once in the last 90 days. And if you didn't, maybe you satisfied this and then you still meet the requirements. Whereas here you have to be in the list and also satisfy one of those three. So someone that has been on the list and opened an email is good to go. But someone that is on the list but has not opened an email and has not clicked an email and is in the list for more than 45 days straight would not be in that segment because of that end condition. So I didn't change anything. So let's still click update segment and go to lists and segments again. Another thing I wanted to mention is in the list settings. So you're going to find your email list, click here, and then go to list settings. Then you're going to go to consent and scroll down to find the opt-in process. And you're going to make the switch from double opt-in to single opt-in. It's on double opt-in by default, and what it's going to do is when people are going to later on subscribe to your newsletter, it's going to send them a confirmation email. And studies show that 1 out of 2 people that receive that confirmation email do not go ahead and subscribe to the list. So whenever you're going to spend time growing the list, you don't want half of the people that subscribe to not receive your emails. So just make the switch to single opt-in. There are going to be no confirmation emails, and all of the people who initially opt in through your pop-up or through your embedded form, as we're going to see later, you're going to be able to market to them without them having to complete an extra step. And then when you click single opt-in, make sure you click save so that the settings are saved and you're actually using the single opt-in. The only scenario where you want to use double opt-in is if you have a low open rate and your list quality isn't that good, then you will want to switch to double opt-in so that the people who do get on your list are more engaged, boost your engagement, and get you a better sender reputation so that in the future you'll have a better open rate. But the goal all the time is to go from double opt-in to single opt-in. If you already have good metrics or decent metrics, opt for single opt-in. But if you don't and your metrics are below 15% open rate consistently, then go to double opt-in. And don't forget, any option you choose, click save. Okay, so now that we have our list properly set it up, we need to start growing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do it. You're gonna, from the home tab, you're gonna go to sign up forms. You click on sign up forms, you let it load. And here you're gonna have a lot of options. We, in this video, are only going to focus on sign up forms for email. So we're going to click here to have the ones to collect emails. Here you'll have many options. So pop-up is going to show up on your screen straight up based on the triggers and time delays that you selected. Flyouts are only going to show up on some corner of your screen, so it might be that corner, and a pop-up flyout, is going to show up here. And embedded are going to be in some form on your home page, completely integrated as a product section would be. A full page is going to load and take the whole page, as the name says. But yeah, these two, they tend to perform the lowest. So these are it for the sign up form options. Generally, you should go for a pop-up. And one thing that you need to keep in mind is that you need to at least set up 2 pop-ups, one for desktop and one for mobile. And reasons for that is because first off, you have different screen sizes and you need to adapt. So the one for mobile is going to be more vertical and desktop is going to be more horizontal, just because of the screen ratio, and also because you want the pop-up to show based on different sets of things. We're going to get into rules and triggers in a second, but you're going to see that it makes way more sense to segment both into different pop-up with different triggers. So I'm going to call this one desktop test. And here at email subscriber list, you're going to choose in which list people are going to opt in once they click submit the form. Which one are they going to get added to? So our main list, as I said before, is the newsletter one. So you want them to be added to your main list. So click on newsletter and create a form. So here you have 3 options. The first one is style. It's going to edit the style of your pop-up. So if you want to change this image, if you want to change this text, if you want to change colors of text, buttons, etc., it's going to be on style. Now, targeting and behavior is going to be when does the pop-up show exactly and for whom. This is going to be in targeting and behavior. And blocks, if I click on block, you are going to be able to add a text block, buttons, image, embed a coupon code inside of the pop-up, etc. Request for a phone number, text, etc. I'm going to start by showing you how to edit the text, and you can basically click on it directly and the text is going to load here. So if you want to change the color, let's say for example, or if you want to say you want to go for a 10% off, for example, you just click here and edit all of it from here. So edit and make it a 10% off if you want to. Now the color of the text is going to be editable here. If you want to make it lighter, you just drag your cursor here. The color is just very, very natural. So then if you want to edit the text here, again, same principle, you just click on it and edit the text here. Now let's say you want to make one special bit of the text, like offer and updates bold, then you select all these text and you click on this icon right here. You want to underline it, you click here, and if you want to make it italic, you click this one right here. So very simple. Text is editable, and if you want to change the font, I should say you edit it right here. So if you want pop-ins, you put pop-ins, etc. It's just very simple, and the size of it is going to be right here. So you select the text and you change the size, you make it bigger here. And now onto padding. If you want, let's say, to have more space between the headline and the normal text right here, you are going to change the top padding and make it, let's say, 10. You're going to have more space between the two. Now if you want to change the distance between the email field and the text field, you can simply increase the padding to 20, and here you go, you'll have more space. Now I clicked on the email field and you can edit the text that is inside of it right here. So if you want, instead of showing in the pop-up just the word email, you can type out your best email and edit the text that is going to show up in there. And then this is going to be the submit form button. So if you click on it, you have the action is going to be submit form, and whenever people are going to select that and click on this after putting their emails right here, it will bring them to the next step. Here the next step is a success. So the form is fully completed once they click unlock the offer, and it will show them the success step. Here again, you can edit it the same way you would edit the email opt-in step, but yeah, you can edit the text, etc. And then onto other properties of the submit button. So if you click on it, you will have here the list to submit the people's profile into. So again, you want people to be added to the main list, and here's going to be newsletter. So just don't change anything. Keep going ahead with newsletter. The text is again editable. So if you don't want to have unlock offer, but you want to have unlock 10% off, you can change it all from here. You can make it bold, thin, etc. The color of the button you can change here if you want to make it lighter or another type of gray, or make it blue because it's your brand. Your branding is more of that kind of blue. You can select it right here. And if you have some brand colors that fits your brand perfectly or that you routinely use, you can just type out the exact color code right here. So if you want it black, I will type 6 O's, and here is gonna make it black. Super easy. Then the padding is gonna be your block style, and the block is everything in between these lines that are circling the block. So for the text, if I click on it, the block is gonna be completely transparent for now. I can make it red, and if I scroll down, I increase the opacity to something that is more than 0%, and here you have the block is now red. Obviously I don't want that, so I will make my pop-up a normal color. I forgot to mention, if you want to change your image, you just click on the image, click on replace, and upload image if you have one ready in your files. Drag and drop one here, and it's going to change the image. Very simple. And when you're ready, just go here and make your pop-up go from draft to live, and it's going to show up in your website. Now, what I need to talk about is targeting and behavior. We mentioned that we only want to show the pop-up for desktop user, and this is where it happens. So we're going to show it the pop-up based on rules, and the rules are going to be if the person is on desktop, and we want to show the pop-up to them in these three cases that we are gonna play around with. The first one is gonna be show when a visitor is exiting the page, and we want to select that on mobile because we can track people's cursor. When they're losing interest, it's gonna find that their cursor is moving in that direction where they have the possibility to change panels, like if they have some other website opened, etc. Klaviyo is going to be able to detect that and show them the pop-up. So it's very effective on desktop, but you can't do that on mobile because you can't track people's thumb. So this one is very good for desktop. And going back to what we talked about before, why we want to segment pop-up based on if people are on desktop or on mobile, this is one of the reasons, because the rules that you're going to select here are very different for mobile user and desktop user. So for desktop, this one is very useful, and this is going to show the pop-up. If for this rule, it's going to show after a certain time delay. If you notice people are on your website on average 12 seconds, maybe 10 seconds is a good time to show them the pop-up. Right before they lose interest, you make them an offer and you capture their email so you can remarket to them after. So this is one option. And the third option is show after a certain amount of scrolling that they do. So if they see 70% of your website, they have a good idea of how, of what the value of your products are, etc. This show only when all of the selected rules are met is very important. You don't want to take that because let's say you have some very strict condition, and let's say I have here 80% after scrolling 80%, and then I have this show when visitors visiting the page, and here I have 10 seconds. If I tick this box, all of these conditions will need to be met for people to see the pop-up, and you don't want that. You want to show the pop-up to people when they do certain things, but not when they do all of the conditions that you assign here. Another thing that is great to do is not show the pop-up on certain URLs. So you don't want to interrupt their conversions. And on Shopify, what's great is that if you have a brand that has a URL, which is brand.com, if they are at brand.com and this URL include /cart, it's because they're on the cart page, and you don't want to show the pop-up there because it might distract them. Or if they are on a URL that includes /checkout, they're on the checkout page, and you certainly don't want to show them a pop-up at that stage. They're converting, don't bother them. So exclude your pop-up from showing at this step of the conversions. Include /cart and also /checkout. So URLs showing these two are excluded from the page where your pop-up is going to be able to show. And whenever you're happy with the conditions that are right here for the desktop pop-up, you're going to make it go from draft to live, and your pop-up is going to show up on your website. So now it's live. I'm going to publish changes and exit. Here you go. Your pop-up is live. You essentially do the same thing for mobile, and you're good to go. So now we're going to go on to flows and how to automate certain part of your email marketing. Let's get into it. So to make flows, you can click here on flows, and we're going to create one from scratch. So you are actually going to be able to see what's possible. I'm going to click create flow and then create from scratch. Here is where you would call your flow by, you select whatever name you want to call it by. So I'm going to call it test and go ahead and create it. Here is going to ask you what is going to be the trigger from your flows. The first one is going to be list. If you select this one, the flow is going to be triggered when people enter a certain list. So it's useful for your welcome flow. As we mentioned before, your sign up form is going to connect people to a certain list. And if, for example, you have an offer, which we have in the sign up forms that we created together, a 10% off, when people are going to go to that list, you want to trigger a flow, which is going to be when somebody join this list, then send them this precise email sequence. And that's how you would send them their discount. So this would be your setup for a welcome flows. And this, if you select this one, is going to be for people joining a segment. So when people are going to join a segment, same thing, follow with this email sequence. Now metric is the one that is the most commonly used. And if I click on metrics, you're going to see that you are going to have many options. So these are the ones that are integrated instantly when you make the integration between Klaviyo and Shopify. And if you click here, you are going to have a checkout abandonment flow. If you select place order, it's going to send people an email as soon as they are done with the checkout process, etc. And these are many options. You can select the one that makes the most sense for the flows that you want to create right here. And then these two are very specific. And here you can use this one to create a birthday flow. So if they have some date in their profile, you can create a flow based on that. So if people give you their birthday, you can send them a discount at that specific period, give them gifts, etc. And price drop is like an alert for people when a selected item they browse is at a discount now. So these are very specific, and more often than not, you're going to deal with these three cases most of the time. So I'm going to take an example and pick this one, checkout stored, to make a checkout abandonment flow. So I'm going to click on this one, and if you select an email, this is going to be your email. So if people start checkout, they're instantly going to receive an email. Obviously, you don't want that. You want to let them, give them a chance to convert. So what we're going to do is add a time delay. So we're going to give them 35 minutes to complete checkout. And if they don't, then we're going to send them this email. And what we need to do is make sure that they don't receive this email 35 minutes after every checkout. We need to filter out buyers. So to filter out buyers, what we're going to do is click here and add a flow filter. If you're asking yourself or you want to know more about flow filters and trigger filters, then I'm going to link a video right here. You should see it pop out on the screen right now that explains to you the difference and when to use which, so you can have a better email marketing strategy. So now we're going to filter out people who already bought from this flow, and it's going to be what someone has done, placed order, at least one since starting this flow. So every person that's going to place an order at any point during here, this line right here. So if they place an order 10 minutes after starting checkout, then they're going to be taken out of the flow. If they place an order 20 minutes after starting checkout, they're going to be out of this flow. And same thing, like I'm going to save, click done. If we add more time delays and more emails, if they complete checkout at any point during that timeline, they're going to exit the flow. So if they place an order, they're going to be taken out, don't worry. And for checkout abandonment, I also like to add has not been in flow in the last 30 days. So I'm going to add end property about someone has not been in flow in the last 30 days. So here you go, and click save. So this is how you'd go about fleshing out your flows. And now we need to start making the email. I'm going to click on email and configure the content so that it reflects our brand. Now you're going to have three things that your recipient is going to be able to see: your brand name, your preview text, and your subject line. It's going to appear in this order. So first off, your sender, then your subject line, and your preview text. All of them are editable. You can edit them now. Just make sure they pick your subscriber's curiosity. Also make sure they're not too long so they don't get cut off. So I'm going to put a placeholder here, test. Then here you have three options. The first one is going to be your drag and drop editor. Is going to be what 99% of people are going to use, and it's the best option if you just want to send branded emails and campaigns to your list. Then it's going to be your text only emails. It's very situational, but if you have a sales reminder or some quick updates that you want to share with your subscriber, this one is very useful. And finally, your HTML builder. This one you're going to use if you have some form of plugin like Emailify that is no code, that allows you to just quickly transfer your emails from another platform to Klaviyo. Or if you are able to code your emails from scratch, you are going to use your HTML builder and simply paste the code there. We're going to tackle the drag and drop editor because this is what people are going to use in general. Now, in the drag and drop editor, you have two tabs. The first one is your template library, and then your saved templates. So this one, your template library, it's public templates that Klaviyo gives you that are completely editable for free and that you can use as a reference to start building your emails from. So as you can see, there are a lot of templates. There are some for one-time sales, for 4th of July, etc. All of them you can use. Now onto save templates. These are the one you create from scratch or starting from the template library, but there's the one you create yourself for your business. It's gonna save all of them there, and you can use elements from here so that you have a starting point every time that you want to create your email. Now I'm going to show you how to make your emails from scratch by clicking this button, so that if you know how to do that, you will have no problems editing templates or coming up with your own emails. So that's the building blocks of everything you need to know about making and designing your emails. So here's how it shows up. This is your drag and drop editor. You have the version if you click here for desktop user and the mobile version if you click here. I'm gonna delete the header because we don't need it, and I'm gonna show you how to use all of these components to start making your emails. So generally you're gonna start with your company logo. So I highly recommend you drag and drop your image block from here and that you save this component as your company logo because you're gonna use it over and over and you don't want to import it every time. So call it company logo, create, and then we're gonna edit across all instances. Then go to browse image library and then upload image, and you should have it in your computer. I have a sample one right here that I'm gonna add to Klaviyo. So this is gonna be my company logo for this tutorial, and then you're gonna click publish changes and you're gonna have it be reusable for every email that you build onward. And you might be asking yourself, where did it save it? In every email that you're gonna build, if you go to universal, you're gonna have all your saved components right here. So it can be your company logo for this instance, or it might be your footer. So if you have an apparel brand, for example, you might have shop women, shop for kids, or shop men at the bottom of your email. And these you can save all of them here so that you can drag and drop them every time super easily and super quickly. Now again, we can drag and drop another image so we can have a banner. So I'm gonna add mine. And if you're asking yourself, how did I design these? I have a tutorial about it where I'll show you how to design emails like this in Figma. So you can create your email design in Figma and transfer them over to Klaviyo as we have right here. Now, because we're in the flow and the flow is triggered by checkout started, we have some data that we can use to make the flow relevant to a lot of people. So if you click here on preview and test, you're gonna have data on your customer that is gonna show up right here. So if you want, for example, to have an item or to look for an item that people picked and reference it in your copy, you can go to product right here and pick item and copy this line of code. So you copy it, it successfully copied it, and now you can type something like you chose and paste the line of code. And now it's gonna populate for every single person that's gonna receive the flow is gonna choose the items that they chose in their cart. So this is super cool, and you can do a lot of things with everything that's every line of code that is inside of here. So for example, the color of the item they chose to pick, or their sizing, etc. You can reference everything inside of the copy. So this is how you personalize your emails to the recipient. So now we have a 10% off discount. I'm gonna show you how to create the discount so that we can add it to this email. I'm gonna save this email for now and exit it and go ahead to the coupon panel so that we can create the coupon that is gonna be dynamic for every subscriber. Exit again. And then you're gonna go to content and then coupon, and then it's gonna make a dynamic coupon for every person that received the email. So we're gonna create a Shopify coupon, call it test. The prefix is gonna be the first few characters of the discount code. So we might call it, let's say, cart. So I'm gonna call it cart. These are going to be the first 4 characters of the coupon codes, and then every person that's going to receive the email is going to have his unique discount code with cart first, and then random letters and characters attached to it. So precisely 8, and you can see the text here. They don't include I, O's, and zeros and ones, just so it's not confusing for the person that's going to receive the discount. So now you choose the type. I have a 10% off, so I'm gonna select percentage, type 10. I want to apply it to the entire order, but if you want to apply only to specific product, you can check specific product or specific collection. I want to select entire order with no minimum purchase. If you have a minimum purchase that you want to assign, then click here and just enter it. Now, I want the discount to be activated at the same time so that every person I'm sending the discount to can actually use it as soon as they receive it. And then if I want it to expire, I'm going to make it expire not on a specific date, but after, let's say, 5 days, because we want to create urgency in the person that's going to receive the discount and make them aware that if they do not seize the opportunity right now, it's going to eventually go away and they're not going to be able to benefit from the discount. So this is how you go about it. You make it expire in 5 days or whatever number of days you want to make it expire in, and then make sure you click save. Now you have to remember the name of the discount. Right here I have called it test. Remember that because we're going to use it after. So we are back in the drag and drop editor. Now we're going to drag some text so that we can add the discount code that we promised to people. Now again, this is editable in the same way we edited the pop-up previously. So if you want to center align the text, you just click here and click center align. If you want to change the color, you simply change the color here. I'm not going to change it. And if you want to change the font, just scroll down the font. It's the same thing we did with pop-ups. So I'm just going to slightly increase the font, put it to 16, and then scroll down, and I'm going to change the background color because I want it to match here. Now you might have some company colors. I have this color for this tutorial, and as you can see, it's an exact match and it makes the transition smooth. Now you can play around with padding. If you want more space in between that image and the text, you can increase the top padding. So if I want to have 30 pixels between the image and the text, I'm gonna put 30 pixels on the top, and here you go. Same thing for the bottom, same thing for left and right. If you want the left and the right to not have the same padding, you click on the lock here and you have separate settings for both of them. Same thing for top and bottom. If you want them to be the same, link them together. If you don't, select different ones for both by clicking the lock. And now we're going to give people their discount. So you're going to go to Klaviyo Help Center and go to this page, Getting Started with Coupon, just because they have the coupon code string right here. So you copy this, then you go back to Klaviyo and you type however you want to introduce your discount code. So I'm going to just use a generic use code and then paste whatever the Klaviyo Help Center gave me. And here I'm going to put the name of the coupon code that we had in the coupon tab, if you remember correctly. So our coupon name was test, and now I have it right here. I replaced coupon name by test. So I'm going to preview the email by clicking right here. And the coupon name, as you can see, is test preview. Now every person is going to receive one. That's why it's written like this. But here you have it. Your coupon is well added. Now onto buttons, because I believe that's the next important step. If you want to add a button, just drag and drop your button, and then you can change the color right here. I'm going to put it green, change the color right here. If you want to change the text on the button, I'm going to make it shop buy now, let's say. I can put buy now. Then your URL, so store.com. If you want to have straight edges, just put 0 corner radius, and then here you go, you have straight edges. Then your inner padding is the bit in between the text and the border of the button. So I want it to be larger on the sides. I increase the left and right inner padding, so I think it's good now. If you want to make the text bigger, make it bigger here. And now I want it to have a background color, and I want the same as the text right here. So I'm going to copy whatever I put here and then replace the bottom by what I just copied. So here you go. And you have your email. Now, I do not recommend that you add social links, just because if they click on Instagram right here, on Twitter, on Facebook, they might get completely distracted and never convert. So you're going to lose conversions if you distract people within your email. That's why I recommend you don't add them in something that is offer focused like this email is. So delete it. And this is legalities. It's super important. Just don't delete that. You need it. And yeah, just make sure you have some vertical, that you add some padding right here, so it's not completely within the email and people don't click unsubscribe by mistake. So add some padding. I'm gonna add some on the top. I'm gonna make it 50. Select enter, and then we're good. Now, same thing about the background color. Just make it the same. And here you go, you have an email. You now click save and exit. Click exit again and again. Now that you know how to make an email for your flows, we're gonna go ahead and make one for a campaign. Here's where you would create a campaign, right here from scratch. And then you name it. So I'm gonna leave it like that. Here is whenever you're gonna send the campaign, just pick a date and the campaign is gonna launch on this specific date. So if I want it to be on October 4th of 2023, I'm clicking here, then pick email and save and continue. Now, this is where you select your recipients, and I'm gonna just select the engaged 30 days segment, and these are gonna be my recipient. Now, if I want to exclude people from the recipient pool, I'm gonna put them all here. So if I don't want people from the SMS list to get my email, I'm gonna click on SMS list, and everyone that is on the engaged 30 days segment, not on the SMS list, is gonna receive this email. Now, this is smart sending. You can turn it on and off, and basically, if you turn it on, people that received your email, one of your email within the last 16 hours, are not going to receive this one. You can turn it on and off depending on how important you think that campaign is. But if you have a one-time sale that is super big and you want absolutely nobody to miss out on it, then turn it off. But if you do not want people that have been emailed recently to get this email, then turn it on. I'm gonna click continue, and here you have the same panel that we had to edit the flows and the drag and drop editor. So this is how you would go about it. So pick a subject line, pick a preview text. Now you know how to do that, right? And then drag and drop editor. I'm not gonna recreate an email again because it's absolutely the same principle, and you can use the same thing that we did for flows to make your campaign. So I'm gonna pick a template, and then I'm gonna click on save and exit. And here you're gonna have basically a collection of every setting you selected for your campaign. So who are you gonna send your campaign to? Did you turn on smart sending? Your subject line, from and replies. So if people hit reply, who are they gonna reach out to? And your content, you can see a preview here. I selected the template, so we're going to be able to see the template. Click on the button if you did add a link, and yeah, see everything. So this would be your Instagram, Facebook, etc. Just very basic. It's a preview of your email. And then here, if you want to actually, if you reviewed all your settings and you believe they're all good and you can send your email, then click schedule or send. It's going to ask you when do you want your email to be sent. So I selected October 4th before. I'm just going to continue ahead with that choice. At what time? I'm going to select 10 a.m. And if your audience is mainly in the United States, then click United States. And now it's going to ask you, do you want to send it at precisely 10 or gradually send over several hours? I generally stay with this one because I want to see exactly the impact of me sending at one time or at another time. What is the difference between those two? And that's how you would go about split testing sending time. So if you stay consistent with fixed sending time, you are going to have a better understanding of what time works best for your brand. So I'm going to pick fixed sending time. Determine recipient as send time is basically either Klaviyo decide whoever is going to send the email to now, whenever you're going to click settle, or October 4th at 10 a.m. Because as we saw before, segments are fluid, they're dynamic. So people in this segment right now might not be the same as October 4th. So if we decide to determine recipient now, it might not send the email to the same people as if we decided to determine this recipient at send time. So I generally take this box so that I'm sure that the recipients fit the description that I intend. Then you click settle and your campaign is good to go. Here's your confirmation message and we can click return on campaigns.